Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Having Juice with OJ. I am here with my co-host, Jerm. What's good?
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
How's the start of your week been so far?
Very, very exciting. We had the end of the regular season for the NBA on Sunday, and kind of trickling into a little bit of last week, UFC 300 this past Saturday night. That was electric from the prelims to the undercard to the main card to the main event. It was a great time, and yeah, I'm excited for tonight. The play-in starts tonight, and NBA playoffs. So.
I know it's been great, honestly. Like UFC, like you said, 300. It lived up to it being 300. I mean, Gaethje and Holloway was absolutely insane. Like that was probably the best fight I think I've ever seen. Like Holloway just absolutely dominated with that kick in the first round that broke Gaethje's nose, and then the two eye pokes definitely in both eyes definitely screwed him up a little bit. Yeah. Probably made it hard for him to see, but overall Holloway just had a great performance. $600,000 bonus because of that, because he's just a dog, is what Dana pretty much was saying. But also, there's this new opportunity I just got, Jerm, and it's this 120-day transformation. Shout out Kyle from Nelk and Arturo Mendez, the trainer. I got given this opportunity. I was picked out of 10,000 people. They picked 25. I was one of them. So I just started. I'm a couple days in, and I'm excited for that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm happy for you. That's a great opportunity, not just for you like personally, but I feel like you could just venture out and meet different people and gain a different level of confidence to yourself. So I'm happy for you and I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Well, let's just keep moving on. Today, we're just kind of going to talk about the play-ins in the first round. Keep it simple today and really just break down for the people who do not know how the play-in works, how it works. So we've got the West and the East, right? And the play-in is consisted of the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seeds. And the only ones who have to do 2 games are the 9 and 10 seeds, correct?
No, so actually the loser of the 7-8 game has to play 2 games as well.
Yes.
So the 7 seed will play the 8 seed in a 1 game for the 7 seed. The winner will be the 7 seed.
Yes.
And the loser of that game will play the winner of the 9-10. And the winner of that game will be the 8 seed.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing to break down
at first
for a second. That's why I got to kickstart my brain in the beginning of this podcast.
But it's actually been, I think this is the 5th year of playing. So
which is kind of crazy because it feels like just yesterday when this was not a thing.
And they were just talking about it, implementing it, and everybody was against it. The majority of people were against it. And I, for one, was somebody who really, I was for it. I like that. I want to see deeper competition. I want to see the end of the season mean a lot more. And we're getting to a point where there could be up to like 25 teams that are playing for playoff spots next year.
No, it's pretty cool to just see like that the bottom tier of the teams don't just start giving up and try to like lose games to get better lotto picks, which is I think what the main issue was before, was that just the end of the last 15 games, people who were already so low did not care enough. So they were like, you know what, let's try to get a better seeding and like hopefully get a better lotto pick and get a better player in the draft. But instead, you have a chance as the 10 seed to even come in and face playoff like contenders, which is pretty cool. And to start it off, let's just break down the East side because it's the least side is what we like to say. It starts today, by the way. This episode will be coming out in a couple days, so you'll see if we're right or wrong. I mean, who knows? So we're going to start with the 7-8 seed here. 7 being Sixers, 8 being Heat. What do we see happening here? Who's going to take that 7 seed and versus the Knicks?
Well, before we get into that, I just think it's kind of funny how the final seedings just ended up playing out with especially 1 through 6. New York coming up and taking that 2 seed from Milwaukee, who, we thought were going to be locked into it. But then as we saw, they could have been locked in with either the Sixers or the Heat. We saw them kind of, starting to slip a little bit. And whether it was strategic or not, but they dropped that 2 seed. Yeah. And now they're in the 3 seed playing the Pacers, who swept them this season. So I just think it's very interesting how all of that turned out, and how the Magic were a game away from being the 2 seed. Now they're the 5.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Sixers and the Heat for this play-in game, the Sixers with Joel Embiid coming back were very close to getting themselves out of the play-in and getting into that 6 seed. But here they are, and in this one game for the 7 seed, I'm going with the Sixers. I'm very confident in what Embiid and Maxey have been able to do when they play on the court together. It's not a huge sample size, but it's not a small one either. We got about 40 games of that, about half the season. And when they're on the court together, they dominate.
They ball.
The Heat, they've been very, very lackluster this year offensively. You know, playoff Jimmy, that's a real thing. He's coming. It's not a question about if or when. He's a real thing. Yeah. He's coming. It's real. But everybody around him, you know, they got to elevate themselves to a level that they probably have never played at before. Well, I'm not going to say they've never played at before because they were just in the finals last year after being a playing team. But, man, it's just hard to see them get past this Sixers team that also just beat them not too long ago.
Yeah, I would have to agree that tonight I see the Sixers pulling this one away 100%. Yeah, like you said, Embiid just coming back. This is probably the best. I would say if the Sixers don't do well this playoffs, like he has the most amount of pressure, I think, for this playoffs rather than even last year. I think that even though he was coming off MVP regular season, I think just the fact that he got that rest, even though it was an injury rest, I think that he didn't exert everything at the end of the season, which he tends to do. Instead of like trying to conserve like a Jokic does, he tends to just put it all out on the floor. And I think that this could help him be able to maintain his health throughout the playoffs, which I think needs to be shown, or else I think there's going to be like major changes that they might have to start thinking about because he's in his main prime right now. Like he's matured. He's like a smart player now. He just needs to be smart with that knee. And I think if he can do that, they can make a good run here. So I'm saying that the Sixers are going to take that 7. And also the Heat just have like these injuries. I think they have like a worse rap sheet, if I was to say. So I can see them losing this game. But then I think to move on to the next game where they'd be versing the winner of 9-10, I think it's theirs for the winning no matter what. Because it's Chicago Bulls versus the Atlanta Hawks, and I don't think either of those teams can beat the Heat. What do you think?
Yeah, real quick with the Sixers, like I don't think there's as much pressure on them with these playoffs. Like I think, one, we don't know where Joel's at. We don't know if he's 85. We don't know if
he's definitely not fully healthy.
We don't know if
he's definitely not fully healthy.
He's not. And, you know, if he's not 100%, we can already kick the championship out the window because you're not winning a championship if Joel Embiid is not 100%.
Yeah.
That's just...
I think the only goal is to get past the second round. I think that's what they need to show.
Well, that's in itself. But if Embiid's not fully healthy, then what can we really, like, rely on? At this point, like, if he's healthy enough to where he can play and contribute, and we know Joel as you were saying, as the competitor who wants to go out there and leave it all out on the floor. Mm-hmm. But if the knee's not allowing him to do that, you know, at this point, the Sixers are only going to go as far as his knee will take them. Mm-hmm. And Maxey is an incredible player, and everybody else that has elevated their game on that team, like Kelly Oubre, you know, it's just going to be so difficult for them to really make a deep push if his knee's not 100%. Now, if it is, that's a different story. Yeah. Then we're looking at this team as, okay, they can make the ECF and they can make a championship run. Mm-hmm. But it's just all dependent on that knee, and I think when they play, we'll be able to get a better grasp of it. And when they move on to the actual first round, we'll be able to really certainly see how his knee is and how the team is going to be able to hold up. Now, with the Heat going against either the winner of the Hawks or the Bulls, you know, with the Hawks or the Bulls, I'm 50-50. The Hawks have been one of the biggest disappointments this season. Yes. But it's still a one game. You know, anything can happen. I'm kind of leaning the Bulls here. Like, my heart's kind of leaning towards the Bulls. They've kind of been playing better basketball towards the end of the season. They just had an overtime game with the Knicks that went down to the wire this past Sunday for the last game of the season. And, you know, between the defense of Caruso and the fourth quarter scoring of DeRozan and the improvements from Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, you know, I could see the Bulls.
Vucevic.
Vuce is Vuce. But, yeah, I can see the Bulls probably pulling this one out.
Yeah, for me, I feel like the Bulls don't have a clear guy. Like, it tends to be like on a nightly basis. Whoever kind of is starting to go off, they kind of just throw it to them, which makes it a little bit harder for me to say in one game, what are they going to do? Like, what's the game plan? Like, a coach has to draw up a game plan to figure out, okay, who do we see taking this ball? Because you know your matchup already. It's a thing. So now you know who you're facing. Who do you think their weak spot is? Where do you think you should go? You should like put your ball at. Where do you think it should be? Like you said, DeMar's a fourth scoring demon, but I'm gonna have to stick with the people who have a one person who can really snap in one game. Just like how we were talking in the March Madness NBA thing, where it's like you really want to focus on if for one game, who is that one player on both sides that can really give you that like 40 bomb or like that like 30 and 11, which I see that being Trey. So I'm gonna go Hawks here, but like I said, I don't think it really matters to me. I think no matter what the Heat beat, whichever team comes their way. If you say Bulls, yeah. If I say Hawks, I see Heat taking both and going to move on to Celtics and lose in the first round.
Yeah, for me, I just see the Bulls having a better chance of beating the Hawks, but I think the Hawks have a better chance of beating the Heat if the Hawks win this game. Doesn't even matter because I still think at the end of the day, they're going to win and move on.
Yeah.
So we'll just see.
Yeah, and then let's say, for example, the Sixers move on in the 7th seed to verse the Knicks.
Yeah, we're going to have Sixers Heat as our 7-8. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sixers Heat as our 7-8.
Yeah, Sixers Heat, but I'm saying if the winner of that is the 7th seed, that would be versing the Knicks in the first round.
Correct.
So if that happens, what are the deciding factors on how this first round matches up? Like, who do you think would be the one on each side that really carries this team? Obviously, I feel like you'd say Embiid. And then I feel like you would say Jalen Brunson.
And JB, of course. Yeah, that's the heart and soul of their team. But this Knicks team is too gritty. This Knicks team is too gritty. I love the brand of basketball that they play. Embiid, amazing player. He gets labeled as a foul merchant a lot, but the Knicks have bodies for that. They got Isaiah Hartenstein. They got Precious Achiuwa. They got Deuce McBride. They got they got bodies. So if Embiid wants to go that route and play that way, then they can. And then on the other side,
on the backcourt side,
like Tyrese, if Tyrese is going to be handling the ball, I can see Josh Hart, drawing that assignment for the majority of the game, and we know Josh Hart is a dog, so he'll be out there all 48 minutes on Tyrese. So I love the brand of basketball that they're playing. Like I've said before, I think the Knicks are a team that could come out and punch anybody in the mouth, and that other team is not going to know how to recover. And JB, the stuff that he's doing, Jersey represent from 7-3-2. He's amazing. He's been putting on one of the best little man seasons that we've seen in a long time. So I'm excited for this Knicks team.
The Knicks this year surprised me. Like, not like a full surprise, because last playoffs, they can punch people. Even last year they could. But this year, I just saw such a growth in even just Jalen Brunson just taking such a higher role. It felt like last year, he was the man, but it felt like also Julius Randle was pulling with him in the fourth quarter, which made it a little bit harder to figure out who to give the ball to. But this year, it was clear. Like, it was just a clear year that Jalen Brunson was the guy. And it's sad to see Julius Randle go down, even though I've hated him the last couple of years. It was sad to see him go down because this is such a good year for them. And when New York's good at sports, it's just a good look. Everybody watches. It's New York and LA. I feel like if those two are good at a sport, it's just so exciting to watch. So New York brand basketball is just sick to watch. Jalen Brunson, small guy. The Sixers tend to have an issue against small backcourts. They tend to always get balled on. So that's my only issue, is who's going to lock up JB. And like you said, there's a Josh Hart to go against Maxey.
NOG.
Yeah, NOG. And you know that, Tyrese is going to give you buckets in some games. Like, it's just bound to happen. He's going to drop 25 plus, like, easy on you, because he's just a bucket. He's young, and he's fast, and he's explosive, and he has heart.
But who else is going to score around him? If not him and Embiid, who else? Like, if they
and you would have to try to rely on like a Kelly Oubre and Tobias, which is almost nearly impossible to do. It's a scary brand of basketball that they're going to have to play. Embiid and Tyrese in my head, you always need like 3 really good players in the playoffs in today's age. 2 does not cut it. 2 does not cut it because you're versing so many good players. But if you have a whole overall team like the Knicks, it's just, I don't think you can beat that with 2 players. So I would say Knicks take that. I don't know in how many games, because obviously the Sixers can steal some, but I think the Knicks take it.
I think 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Yeah,
That's what I
five
would
or
have to
six.
agree with. I don't think it goes 7.
And too, like the way that the Knicks have played through injuries all year, and like with Mitchell Robinson going down at the beginning portion of the year, and Julius Randle going down, and Jalen Brunson even going down at a certain point, like this team has been banged up, beat up, and how you said, their growth from October to now has been amazing to see. They're a 50-win team. I can't remember the last time the Knicks got 50 wins. So
Yeah, I have no clue. I cannot tell you.
it's a good day for New York basketball. And I'm excited. We're definitely gonna have to try to get to one of those games, because
I know.
that's in my mind. I was thinking earlier during the year, I was like, bro, if the Knicks Sixers play each other in like the first round, like we got it.
We have to. Yeah. I mean, it's just cool to see for a 2 and 7 seed. All right. I think we can kind of breeze through Celtics versus whatever 8 seed. I think we both agree.
Do you wanna play that game? You wanna play that game with Spo in Miami? 'Cause
I know.
I'm not ready to play that game just yet.
I know. I would say, if anything, Heat are the only ones who can give us a tough time that would make it go 7. But that's it. I don't think the Bulls or the Hawks or the Sixers would give us anything. So it's really only the Heat, because of obviously Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy is basically Michael Jordan. So I can see a tough matchup, but I don't think we get bounced, or I don't think the Celtics get bounced in the first round.
For the love of everything that is dear and holy, I hope I hope for your sake that you don't do it again. But that's still a team that can go out there and push that 7-game series, and so I'm so excited for that series. I'm so excited to see how Boston comes back and starts this, because it's gonna start with Miami for them. So.
Yeah, I agree. Then we have the set matchups. We're just going to run through East to get through this and then go West. We got a 4 and 5 seed sitting at the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic. In my head, right off the bat, I just think like the image that pops in is Donovan Mitchell. That's like the first thing I think of when
That's exactly what I was thinking.
When I just read that matchup. Is just, again, you got to think about who that guy is, like in the playoff, like in a series. Who do you think that guy's going to be? Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. Like, I love Jared Allen. Like, I can't see this team losing to such a young Magic team. Yeah, Apollo, but I don't know. I think Cavs take this one probably in six games, I would say. Maybe 5. What do you think?
I'm in the opposite boat, man. I love what this Magic team has done this year. Behind the growth of Paolo and Franz, and honestly, a guy who's in the conversation for most improved, but he's not going to win it, obviously, because of what Tyrese has been able to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Jalen Suggs, what he's been able to do, bro. Like,
he's a bucket.
He's somebody who's, like, this season I've changed my mind on who he is as a player and, like, his pro career, because coming out of Gonzaga, he was a very highly touted prospect. He had that high draft capital being taken, 4th or 5th or whatever. And I think he got taken before Scotty Barnes, but either right before or right after Scotty Barnes. And, I think it was right after. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh, wow, Scotty went before him. Scotty has all those athletic
He's an interesting
tools.
character in himself.
Of course. But Jalen Suggs, he's been able to just turn himself into a menace on the defensive end of the floor. And it's translated into his offensive game, where he's been able to, pop off sometimes. But, with those defensive assignments, he's locked in on that side of the floor, and he's going to be a pest for either Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. And, with Paolo and Franz, they're going to be able to do their thing. John Isaac is a name that is very popping for me, because in the minutes that he does play, very limited, he's a top 5 defender in the world. He's one of the best defenders in the world. It's just
he's long,
staying out there.
Yeah.
And the health has been such a concern for him for a multitude of years, but he's been able to play this year. And I love this Magic team. I could see them pulling it out. If I'm being realistic, they're probably not. I don't think they have that experience. But the Cavs are also frauds. They're fake contenders to me. So I could see this going.
Yeah.
I could see this going either way. I think it goes 6 games either way. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic pull this one out.
Yeah. See, I would be surprised. Like you said, young team. young team. I don't think they're like the Kings last year, which was the young dark horse for me. I think the Cavs take this one, but yeah, you said 6 games. I would have to match you there, but I can see the Cavs taking it in 5 too. Honestly, not gonna lie. Moving on.
It's just what version of the Cavs are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the version of the Cavs that we saw in December,
like you said,
January, or like are we gonna get the Cavs that we've seen since All-Star break?
Yeah,
a pretty bad team.
Just been coasting, honestly. I feel like, but yeah. I mean, I get you. They can be frauds in the playoffs. Like that's something that we've seen that has data to support it.
And like last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
supposed to be a 7-game series in the first round with the Knicks, and they got worked in 5.
Yeah, worked. So yeah, I can see what you're saying there. I feel like I'm just hoping because I'm a huge Darius Garland fan. Like I'm a stan. So yeah, I mean next we've got the Bucks versus the Pacers here. I'm just gonna have to say the Bucks, but the thing is, I can see the Pacers taking this, but I feel like it's just my hatred and bias that I have right now toward the Bucks for some reason. I just feel like they should have been way better than they actually are with Dame, but also. Yeah, Dame's a little bit older. He's a defensive liability. Like, what did we really fully expect? I think the difference maker is Chris Middleton, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, the difference maker is always going to be Giannis in whatever series that they play. And then, honestly, right after that, it would be Dame, too, because he's clearly that difference maker that can go out there and win you a series by himself, and we've seen him do that for years in Portland. I mean, he did have CJ, but, like, CJ and Chris Middleton are comparable. So you feel me? Like if Dame can play up to that level, it doesn't even matter if Giannis is playing up to that level. Because then, if you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just feel like Chris needs to give you 20 to 25 for you to be like, okay.
However, I think I was flirting with the idea that the Magic could beat the Cavs. I'm kind of confident that the Pacers could beat the Bucks.
I'm more confident. Yeah,
the Pacers for one swept the Bucks in the season series, and this was the last time they played was in January. That's when they still had Adrian Griffin. Yeah. That's when they were 30-13, second in the East, playing like one of the best teams in the league. And since then,
well, they got the best coach in the world.
Since then, the Bucks. We all know what's happened with the Bucks. They got Doc Rivers. They haven't played great. Giannis has been hurt. Dame has been hurt. This team is, in my opinion, like. We can see this team lose in the first round and come back next year looking completely different.
Yeah, I can.
And I think it might be what happens because this Bucks team since 2021, since that championship run, they've been retooling, adding pieces here and there, getting rid of big pieces like Drew, and they
didn't really find an identity. It feels like
it hasn't really turned out well for them post championship. And with the Pacers, they're also a team that's completely different from what they were in January. In January, they were looking like one of the best offenses ever.
I feel like that was pre-Tyrese injury.
That was pre-slump. That was pre-struggles. That was pre-Pascal.
That injury really screwed him up, man. It did. Because he was on a tear.
But now they have Pascal as well, too. So it's like these are two completely different teams. And I feel like the Pacers, they were going really hot and they fell a little bit with Tyrese's slump and injury, but, they're starting to go back up on the upwards trajectory. And they don't have Benedict Mathurin, who's one of my favorite Pacers players. And that's going to hurt them, I feel like. But at the same time, the Bucks, they could get run out of the gym again.
Iffy. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see Pacers as 6 seed taking on Bucks real quick. I mean, I'm not a fan of Doc Rivers, like we all know. I don't think many people are. He has won one championship. It was with the big three in the Celtics.
That one championship has kept him
in the league
this long.
Yeah, because he had some of the best players of all time, Hall of Famers, on his team, 4 of them. So like, I really hate him. I don't think he takes the right timeouts at the end of a game. I don't think he knows how to do a rotation correctly. Remember that player you said he didn't even know he had on the end of his bench?
Andre Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah.
He forgot he even had a good player on his bench, which is just insane to me. But yeah, so that's the East, ladies and gentlemen. That's one side of it. Let's move to the West. The best. We've got the best and the least. And we're going to start off just talking about the 7 and 8 seed here, where we got the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a good matchup. People are saying People are saying on SportsCenter, Jerm, that LeBron would purposely lose a game to not verse the Nuggets. How do we feel about that?
It's
blasphemous to me.
The more I thought about it was like, oh yeah. I was thinking to myself initially like, oh, I guess that's a strategy. But LeBron's not ducking from anybody. One. Two, LeBron wants to get his get back from the Western Conference Finals last year where they got swept by this Nuggets team. And three, if the Lakers are confident in themselves as a team that they can make a push for this title, you're going to have to play Denver eventually because Denver's the best team in the West. So might as well play them now. Might as well play them before they're able to eliminate a weaker team and then go on and eliminate the Thunder or the Mavs or whoever they play. Or they're not even on that side of the bracket, so it doesn't matter. But before they're able to eliminate other teams and really get a groove in this postseason and have somebody like Peyton Watson, just completely explode and turn himself into a different player this postseason. Yeah. Because I feel like the Nuggets have had somebody do that these previous years, whether it's like Bruce Brown or KCP or MPJ finally bursting on the scene, or like Christian Brown for like those 1 or 2 games. Somebody's going to step up besides Jokic or Murray, and that's already a monster in themselves. So, man, I mean, I'm going Lakers. I'm leaning Lakers. I can see them losing, though, because the Pelicans are one of the best three-point guarding teams. We saw this in this past game on Sunday. The Lakers were very hot. They got out to a 20-point lead, and they were kind of just coasting. It's something when the Lakers play the Pelicans, too. It's like LeBron and them, they know how to play against Zion. It's something about that. But it's like, I don't know.
I feel like it's
Zion's
just old
game,
man strength. I feel like
whether it's like Zion's game reminds Bron of like young Bron, as they have the same tendencies or whatnot. But like
it's just Bron knowing basketball.
He just knows how to play against Zion. Like AD and Bron just know how to play against Zion.
And Zion's had a good year.
Oh yeah, amazing year.
Like
amazing
almost year. Averaging 23-30, almost 23-30 would be crazy. But like yeah, he's been really good this year. Something that I did not see happening again, honestly. He's just been so like on and off, inconsistent, injuries all the time, not really in basketball shape. So I'm excited for that. For me, it's Lakers. I just think LeBron comes out with a different type of heat here versus like a younger squad in itself, like younger. But I don't think like you said, Bron does not duck from people. And also, you'd rather see Denver early on. Like you said, no matter what, if you think you're a championship contender, you're going to have to verse them anyway. So why not just verse them in the beginning? Because that's when they're the most cold.
And you're going to be, like, you're the Lakers. You're playing this game this week. You're already in high practice. Like, you're hitting practice hard. Playoffs don't start till next week. Denver's, they're chilling right now. They're resting.
Yeah. So,
strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, and if they win, they get 3 days off. That could be nice.
That's good. That
could be nice for AD and LeBron, who both got injuries.
Exactly. That's good enough right now. So it's like, yeah, we played hard enough and we take this time, but we're still in game shape. We're still in game mode. Well, it might not affect the Nuggets as much, but they are getting longer rest.
Yeah. So let's say that works out that way, right? And then we've got the loser, the Pelicans, going up. Who would they verse? The Kings or the Warriors?
Based off the strength that the Kings don't have Malik Monk or Kevin Huerter, I'm leaning Warriors. And the way that the Warriors have been playing, down the stretch of the season, kind of iffy. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you got Steph and Clay, and Clay has been able to turn his entire season around and turn a lot of opinions around because.
People are starting to give up.
I was even in that, but I'm just like, bro, like, why is Clay playing this many minutes, taking this many shots? And then eventually he moves to the bench and all that stuff happens and he rejuvenates himself. And it's been great for the Warriors. Yeah. But the Warriors as a whole have just another team that's just had a disappointing season. Like, not to the degree of the Hawks, but actually, yeah, to the degree of the Hawks, because we didn't think that the Hawks and the Warriors would be playing teams. We were thinking, these are surefire. We assumed them to
be like top 5
locks.
Seed.
These are locked in. Yeah, they're locked in as playoff teams because, you got Steph Curry, who's still one of the best shooters. Yeah. Who is the best shooter in the world. Yes. One of the best players in the world. Was probably going to be the clutch player of the year this year. Gave us the game of the year against LeBron back in January.
That was such a good game.
And he's still Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So as long as this team can, hit their shots, defend, and do what they need to do, if Draymond could stay in the game for the full majority of the game, if he doesn't,
There it is.
if he doesn't stomp on Sabonis'
There it
chest
is.
this time,
There it is.
because this is a rematch of the 3-6 from last year.
Yeah.
And now they're playing as the 9-10.
Yeah.
So that just also goes to show like the parity of the league, like it's on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm leaning Warriors, and not leaning. I'm strongly.
You're
on the
strongly
Warriors.
on
I'm
it. That's
strongly
what it
on the
sounds like. For me, Malik and Kevin not being there is a huge hit. I mean, Kevin's a splash bro in itself. And Malik just did so much for that team. I'm still going to lean Kings here just because I don't know what the Warriors will give me. I feel like I kind of know more about how the Kings run their offense a little bit better than how I know the Warriors do at this point. Sabonis, I'm a huge fan of him. I don't know who's gonna take him on. Like
Draymond.
And that's what I'm saying. In a series, that causes me issues in my head because it's like Draymond's gonna start some stuff. He's gonna cause an issue. He's gonna like. I used to be a fan of Draymond. I'm not anymore. I've been out on him the last 2 years, I would say. He's like a dog and he brings a different energy to a team. But let's take a step back and you think that the Kings are going to win. What do you think happens to this Warriors team if they lose right here as a 10 seed against the Kings?
Well, I think you definitely try to figure out what you're going to do with Andrew Wiggins. Because that's been probably, if not the biggest disappointment since their championship run. Unless he can go and find the Andrew Wiggins from that championship run and bring him back, then I don't know what they're going to do in the long run. But this has also been a season where the Warriors have just had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of ups and downs, injuries, Clay going through his struggles, Draymond with his antics, and it cost him. It cost him early.
Yep.
So this is still a team that has its core intact. These guys can still play. And as long as they can still play, you're still going to be competing for a championship. So if they go out now, you just retool and you come back next year and you try to drop the antics and you try to get off to a strong start so that you're not in a position where you're trying to fight back from the 10th spot. But I don't see them losing here.
Yeah.
At the same time, for this game, it's Draymond and Sabonis. That's the matchup I'm looking at.
Yeah, same.
Because if Sabonis is able to have a 30-point double-double, even pushing a triple-double, then he's going to be able to put the Kings on his back and help him move on. But if Draymond's actually able to be in there and play and be that Hall of Fame,
be physical with him and not get kicked out of the game.
Exactly. He's a Hall of Famer. And
100%.
He's able to stop anybody.
Yeah, he can.
So, and that chemistry that he has with Steph is unreal. It's unseen. There's no two players that had the level of chemistry that those two have. So, he's going to be very vital to their postseason run. And it's a matter of him staying
there. Yeah. I like that. In my head, it's 50-50, like in terms of what actually could happen. And instead of just me leaning towards someone, I think that this game can go either way. And let's say, for your sake, let's say that the Warriors win this one, right? Warriors win this one. They move on to verse in our like bracket right now that we're making. They go to verse
OKC.
No, the winner will verse
Pelicans.
the loser. Yeah, they'll play the Pelicans. So what would we see for that matchup with the Warriors Pelicans? I feel like two different types of teams here. What would you say would be the X factor or something that you would want to look for who would win?
Still Steph.
Steph?
Steph is the X factor. And then Zion.
How they play.
How physical can
Against
Zion be with Draymond? Not just that, but like BI. How is he looking? Is he 100% right now? Is he able to go? If he's able to go,
yeah,
I'm liking this Pelicans team a lot. If he's able to go, I like this Pelicans team to beat the Lakers tonight. That's one thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder with these four teams than it is with the Sixers, Heat, Bulls, and Hawks. Because we know that the Sixers and the Heat or a tier, if not 2 tiers above the Bulls and the Hawks, especially this season. But it's playoff basketball. Like I've been waiting for this. Like
It's exciting.
it could have been the Mavs and the Suns in this position, who we thought that it would have been like a week or two ago, and the Mavs moved up to 5th, and the Suns moved up to 6th. I'm gonna lean Pels.
Okay.
If it's Pels Warriors, and then Pels will get in as that 8th seed. But again, we never know what's gonna happen. Like the Lakers could lose the first game, and it could be Lakers Kings for the 8th seed, and then it could be Warriors Pels for the 8th seed. Like we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, this is all just based off of like injuries take such a big impact, and as fans, we don't know everything about the like how big these things are, like to what's happening. Like for example, Joel Embiid, like you said, we do not know how healthy he is. We as fans, we can't really base anything off of it because we don't know. We just know what we're told, which they purposely don't leak everything because they don't want the other team to be like, okay, he's 85% already. We know that, so now we can plan for this. And that's kind of what I feel like would happen with AD or LeBron. Like, we're not going to know the full extent of all these injuries. And Kawhi, yeah, exactly. We're not going to know the full extent of these injuries as fans and as spectators because they don't want us to, because it gives the other team an edge. So we're just going based off of what we can what we know from the news here.
But still, at the same time, if you're the other team, like you should still prepare.
Well, yeah, 100%. But
that's give and take. Like it's all situational, and it's all like there's a lot of factors that go into it. There's time, there's how healthy, how hurt is he, what the game plan, and this and that and the third. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you should always be preparing whether Kawhi is going to play or not, whether Embiid's 100% or not. Like these other teams should be prepared for those situations.
Yeah, definitely prepared. But I feel like also knowing that the load will be worked around a little bit differently is how I'm kind of breaking it down. Like, yeah, if Kawhi is more hurt than he says, if you knew that, then you would be like, okay, now we're going to do a little bit more on making sure Paul George isn't just coming over and grabbing the ball, or like James Harden. Like, we know if he's looking to pass it in a way of Kawhi that's in like a vulnerable state for his like injury, he'll probably go Paul. So like that's what I mean in terms of that. But so that's what we see happening here. Let's say, for just funds, that's what happens. Pelicans move on to get the 8th seed versus OKC. What do we see happening in this series, and who are those guys that you got to look for?
We got the Zion versus Chet matchup. We got Shea versus whoever. Mm-hmm. It don't matter who they put on.
Yeah, I agree.
He's getting his 31.
I agree with that. Which is crazy because he barely has a 3-point game.
It's gotten better.
I mean, yeah, but it feels like, what does he average? 3 point something attempts per game.
He's
shooting 33%.
He's not banging it like OD from 3.
But imagine if he did develop that crazy, bro. He's already dropping 30 points without that in his bag.
Well, yeah, that's who
scary.
He is. Like, he's one of the best scorers in the world.
Yeah,
and his game is just getting to his spots, and he can do it so easily and so effortlessly. Yeah. And he's just gonna get to his spots. He's gonna get to the rim, and he's gonna do his thing. Jada versus Bi is another.
It's a good matchup.
Another interesting matchup I'd like to see. I like Thunder here. I like Thunder in 6. We've seen the Pels come in before as an 8th seed that can play pretty hard. We saw them do it against the Suns. What was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
they pushed them to 5 or 6. The Pels are gonna go as far as Zion takes them. How dominant can Zion be? How assertive can he be in the paint and picking his spots and getting those boards and kicking out to teammates and getting them involved? It's up to him. It's really up to him. They're gonna go as far as he takes them. I don't think. I'm not gonna write them off. I'm not gonna write the Pelicans off because they're a team that could go in there and
for sure
win.
But we're feeling OKC both. I think.
Yeah. But I'm not like overly I'm not overly confident in OKC.
I'm leaning 65% of my way with OKC. That's how I would put it. If I'm like leaning a certain way, I'm going 65%.
But at the same time, I say that because they're young.
Yeah.
But they're hoopers. They could play ball. Like, yeah, a lot of things change when it goes from regular season to playoff basketball and you're in that half court game.
Yeah.
But this is a team that's that's proven over a pretty good sample size of 82 games that they could hang and bang with anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
In the league. So,
yeah. So, I mean, like you said, we can see it going either way, but we're going to say OKC probably could. 5 or 6. I say probably 6. Moving down, we're just going to do the play-ins first. That's kind of how I'm doing it. So then let's say the Lakers are versing the Denver Nuggets in the first round for the 2 and 7 seed. What do we see being the main contributor to a winning series for this?
Nuggets in 5.
Nuggets in 5. I agree. Thank you.
It's
Yeah,
Nuggets
that's
in
easy.
5.
That's easy. I don't even think that takes much explanation.
I'm not even gonna try to like fight for the Lakers. I'm sorry.
As much as I love the Lake Show, I just think the Nuggets are the best team in the West.
And as much as like I kind of was giving a whole spiel about the Lakers and how they should move and all this, like, bro, like,
At the end of the day,
Nuggets are
they're
about to
so
go back
good.
to back. In my opinion, Nuggets are going back to back right now, and it's going to start with taking care of business. Like they have the Lakers number.
They do.
They're just like it's just like that Sabonis versus AD. Like Sabonis never lost to AD, which is crazy to me.
Pretty
like,
crazy, but
the Nuggets are kind of like a step above that. Like they're not gonna get past them. I don't see them.
I
getting
agree.
past them.
So we'll move past that one. Honestly, there's not much to break down. I feel
Jamal
like
Murray probably will have a 40-point game as well.
probably I love him.
Yeah.
But let's go to the 4 and 5 seed here. We've got the 4 seed Clippers, 5 seed Mavericks. This is a good series for me. I'm excited to watch it. It all comes down to the health of the Clippers, and I said that before with you on this podcast. If they're healthy, if they're really good, Clippers are one of the best teams in the league right now. I mean, they know how to play. They know how to ball. They're great. They're a great team. I love watching them, and I love watching the Mavs too. So what do you see being the difference maker? Because I do see this could lean 50-50 either way. What do you think would be the big jump for one of these teams?
See this right
That
here?
knee?
It's a knee, and it belongs to Kawhi.
Well,
no,
Not
not my knee, but like you feel me, like Kawhi's knee is gonna be the biggest issue with Kawhi playing and being healthy. I'm leaning honestly like 70-30 Clips. Mm-hmm. If that knee, well, since the knee is in question, can't lean that much. But if the knee's a problem, I'm leaning Mavericks. And
yeah,
like I'm confidently
100%
gonna lean Mavericks. Like we saw the Mavericks make 2 very underrated and great trade deadline moves, getting PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and they were a team that went from 7, 8, 9 all the way up to 5. And they're 50 and they're a 50-win team.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Now Luka's gonna go against the Clippers in the first round for the 3rd time, and it's gonna be a banger yet again. And this time he has Kyrie by his side, and now the Clippers got this 3-4-headed monster with Russ and Harden and PG and Kawhi. And this is gonna be the series. This is gonna be the series of the round. It's gonna be the best series of the round.
I agree.
In either conference, it might be the best series of the playoffs, in my opinion. Like
We'll see. We'll see how it breaks down.
It was a top 3 series, like both other years that they played. Like,
I mean,
they
it's
went
a fun,
6 and 7.
it's a fun like rivalry. It feels like
Yeah,
now.
at this point, like we can't call it that.
Yeah.
Like, and Luka hasn't beaten these guys yet.
Nope.
So you know he's gonna have that chip on his shoulder, and we know when Luka plays with a chip on his shoulder, it's even
scary.
It's even worse.
50-point triple double.
Exactly. So I can't pick either side. It's gonna all come down to his knee, to Kawhi's knee. I'm gonna be able to see that game 1, and
then we
from
can
there.
Yeah,
like, it's just gonna be a series. I'm not even.
yeah.
That's just like 2 of my 3 favorite players, and you already know that. Like,
Yeah.
Luka and Kawhi. Like, I'm gonna be all over that.
I'm excited for the series. I can't say I have a 100% pick that I would do for this one.
I can't.
Because it's just not feasible.
I can't.
It's not feasible. It literally can go either way.
And then you got PG, and then you got PG and Kyrie. Like,
yeah. It literally can go either way. It does not, like, it wouldn't even matter to me. I don't have, like, a feeling toward one team. Like, I would be fine with either team winning. I would have to say I'm, like, 52% Mavs just because, like, I want to see Luka get that dub against them. It's, like, just so fun. I mean, Kyrie Irving, as much as he gets hate all the time, like, he was so available this year, and he was just playing out of his mind. And that's what they need. And Luka can only do so much. Kyrie being there really helps him a lot. Like I said, it's hard to win with just 2 absolute all-stars like that when you really need to play against 3 in today's league. But I think these two could be the ones.
Yeah, they're
especially if Kawhi's knee is acting up.
is in question.
Yeah. So really, like you said, it comes down to that Kawhi knee, guys, and it comes down to how much he can play. Like, is he going to be playing at full strength? Is he going to, like, what are they going to do? What's their game plan?
Because we know we're not expecting James Harden to go out there and be the star of the show for the Clippers.
No.
He's not going to go out there and do
He's
that.
a third.
We know that at this point. We know who James Harden is, and especially in the playoffs, we know who he is.
Yes.
And I would like, for one, to see him kind of turn that narrative around.
Yeah.
And in this role that he does have with the Clippers, play excellent with it and be able to hit his shots and not chuck them up. And, we did see him have those great games last year. But,
yeah.
I want to see that consistency from him, especially in this role where he's that facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
PG's another thing. PG's probably the X factor. Same way Kyrie is.
I would say.
I think who can have the better series between PG and Kyrie of the number twos on each team.
PG's been absolutely great too. Like
I'm
both
telling you, everybody in this everybody in this series has had an amazing year.
It's a great 4 and 5 matchup.
It is, and it's I don't even know the word for it, but it's great. It's great.
It's gonna be exciting to watch.
It's poetic how it's Clippers Mavs again, third time in Luka's young career, and I'm super excited.
Moving on from that one, because we're feeling both sides. We love both sides here. We got the 3 seed. You got the Timberwolves, and you got the 6 seed, the Suns. How do we feel about the Timberwolves taking that small drop?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It could have been Timberwolves, Thunder, or Nuggets. The way we saw the top of the conference end up. Everybody's all of a sudden all over the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like...
It's kind of I get it, though.
I understand. Yeah, Katie and Book, they can go out there and get you those buckets and get you those and win you those games off the strength of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Bradley Beal probably have the best game as a Sun, like probably this week, finally.
Yeah, I always forgot that. I forgot all year that he was on that team.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, like if you're a Suns fan, you regret making this trade.
Yeah, you're also not excited for this matchup.
You kind of are. You kind of are excited because if there's anybody that they could go out there and kind of, get the upper hand on, it is Minnesota. Who are they going to have an answer for Ant, though? And how, Ant's been in the playoffs a couple times now, so he's used to this. And
he's also going to be the face of the league.
And
he needs to do it at some point.
He's been on this trajectory of becoming a superstar player in this league. And, some may even say he's on that level right now.
I was going to say, I think this year he hits superstardom.
And this could be that playoff run that he needs. And he's got Rudy down there anchoring that defense for him. Cat, I haven't looked up news on him.
Yeah.
As of recently, but I think he should be getting ready to come back.
I feel like we would have seen more news about it. If
we would have seen more news, but the timetable was around, I think, the end of this month. So I think they may have him slightly towards the back end of the series.
Yeah.
Obviously, if Cat's there, I'm all over Minnesota.
Yeah.
But
again, comes down to injuries.
Exactly. It's always going to come down to injuries and who's available and who's actually on the court for you.
Yeah.
This is the first round series that I can probably see guaranteed going 6 or 7. I think this is one that they're going to be going back and forth.
I think so too.
And we're probably going to see a big game from Grayson Allen. We're probably going to see a big game.
He just got a nice deal.
4 years, 78. Congrats to him.
Congrats to that guy. He looks like he's 78. My man's got gray all over him, man.
Naz Reid
has
been one of the best 6 men in the league this year. And, as a big forward, as a big guy, you don't really typically hear that. He's one of the best 6 men in the league.
Yeah.
But he's amazing. He's been great for that team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Mm-hmm.
He's come over and he's kind of carved himself a little role here, and he's understood what he has to do on the defensive side of the floor before he can go out there and try to provide buckets for them. You got Slow-Mo. He's former Spur, great defensive player. They love him out there.
Love that.
They love him out there in Minnesota. I'm leaning Minnesota here. I'm gonna take them in 7, and I would just really like to see Cat come back, but at the same time, it's going to be hard to see Katie go out in the first round again.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a Katie stan also. But I just wanted the tables to turn at some point. And like you said, Ant, man. What are they going to do about him? I say Timberwolves take it in 7. Tough series, I think. I think D-Book will go out there and give buckets, 45 points in a game.
They're going to be going back and forth.
Yeah,
and Ant-Man.
and then I think
I can see them
Ant's
even
going to
getting
get
chippy with one
45.
another.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a
so
series
too.
that could get really chippy.
Because D-Book's, he's a chippy guy.
He's a little diva.
He's a little diva. He's going to talk his smack, and Ant will never let anybody do that. So, because the Ant's just got that personality. Like,
Ant's got that dog in him.
He's literally has that dog in him.
He's
so good.
He's got that ATL dog in him. He's from that Atlanta.
Yeah.
He don't play around.
He do not play around, and he shows it on the court. That's the end of the first round in the play-ins, folks. That's a deep dive into it to really, if you guys do not know anything about it, maybe we helped you kind of decide who you would pick, who you would gamble for, honestly.
Or maybe you guys just fade us on everything that we're saying, then you're probably right. So
yeah, you'd most likely probably hit 70% if that's true. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe below, and check us out next week. Thank you so much.
And let us know your predictions down in the comments.
Yeah, let's check it out. Thank you.
Gamble with your life. If you didn't know.